Hi, Dawn. This is Joe Gonzalez over at LinkedIn. Thanks again for taking the time to meet with me this morning. To talk a little bit about, how you guys are currently leveraging part of our ecosystem here at LinkedIn for recruiting. And, just really wanted to go through a much bigger concept in regard to how recruiting has really changed and how we need to treat LinkedIn just a little bit differently than, one of the typical job boards or talent sources and talent pools on the web, and really create a bigger social media strategy, and how you're going to, again, pick out that audience that you want to target on LinkedIn, be able to, share your story in a clear and engaging way, and be able to set up the foundation, the groundwork for your presence and company and employees on LinkedIn, so that they can convert into, followers of your business and, want to be you guys be top of mind when new opportunities arise, and just, be ready to apply the job you have, share your content, and help you gain this bigger presence on LinkedIn. So just wanted to take 2 seconds to mention, that the world's changed quite a bit. I know, you've been in this industry 20+ years, and you've seen us go from, the paper, physical form of, a Rolodex of contacts, and the best recruiters were those that would just, have the highest amount of volume calls, and you're pretty much based off of the talent that you knew personally and had the physical record of. Then we moved to a way to consolidate that information, those contacts, all those candidates, to one location in an offline database. Obviously, the turn of the century, well, those football commercials and the football's, Super Bowl, we'd have the commercials pop out from Monster and other job boards, and we really have all these different, avenues for active candidates to post their jobs or post their resumes to jobs they're interested in, and just all these channels and options coming about. Now with the turn of the age of social media, this is a way for us to, again, kind of have a bigger brand presence, and candidates are now interacting with us as companies and search firms from their cell phone. They're doing this with a click of a button. There's multiple channels, there's more job boards than ever before, there's different types of talent pools, lots of job choices and ways to engage with brands. We're very easy to connect, message, or find people with just a few clicks of a button. So, with this change, like we were discussing last time, there really has been, a shift in the way that we perceive LinkedIn as well, because social media, again, we're not thinking of LinkedIn just like a job board, but the research shows us that 57% of a decision to purchase or to enter into some type of sales engagement or to be recruited is the research is done ahead of time. Your recruiter's using our tool, LinkedIn Recruiter, to use an in-mail messaging strategy to reach out to good potential candidates. And what's happening is that those candidates are looking at that message, vetting that message, clicking on the picture of the profile the individual sent it to them, your recruiter, and they're going back, and hopefully it's linking back to your company page where they're basically researching your brand on LinkedIn. And obviously Facebook is a center for friends and kind of connections through college and other group events. LinkedIn is obviously that more connectivity space for professional identity, but also being able to find good thought leaders or groups to plug into. And it's also the place where your brand as a company is probably seen more often than it does via your website. So thinking about, for example, as you see on the slide here, the last time you went to go plan a trip, I used TravelZoo or used TripAdvisor to look up lifetime reviews on hotels I was considering staying at, or adventure vacations I was looking at doing, to hear about the best parts of those, or what I could, do or not do, and basically to see what was the best pricing. All of this had been done before I even contacted the hotel to make the reservation. And in some cases, I'm not even contacting the hotel. But because of all these channels and options and this kind of sharing society talking about experience, which is lifetime and much more accurate than what the vested interest of a particular hotel would tell me about their organization, their company, I'm getting it from peer set, essentially. So, we really need to embrace this social media kind of age here. In regards to your LinkedIn presence, I want to show you how we build the right, basically ground level and foundation that we can, again, at LinkedIn, help you to kind of empower to share your story at scale, so that as your potential candidates and clients are researching your company, they get the full value proposition. So thinking about those candidates, clients, and consultants, they're coming to LinkedIn for a variety of reasons. So again, breaking down the social media piece, not just a job board, but why people on LinkedIn. Obviously, as it more so started out, it was referred to as kind of like the professional Facebook, you know, a digital resume, if you will. I mean, obviously, it's our professional identity, but also people are coming here not just to establish themselves, but to network, you know, with other peer sets or other industries they're interested in, past colleagues, potential future mentors. And with that, you know, most people on LinkedIn, once they have that job they really love, they want to know how they can be as good as they can at that job. They want to know how to have insight in the industry. They're looking for ways to set up a solid news feed, in a sense, of industry-related content, leading companies, thought leadership, management, you know, whatever is of their interest. They're trying to set up a news feed of companies and organizations to follow that's going to feed them as professionals and help them grow and make a bigger impact in their own professional world. So we need to cater your company page and your recruiters and the content you're sharing. We need to cater to all parts of this audience here. So again, Talent on LinkedIn, we recently reached 315 million members, so we are technically the largest talent pool on the web. And within this pool of professionals, actually 80% of these people are passive, and this is the most search firms kind of be saying, hey, with great it's great passive talent, and that's what I want to recruit, but at the same time, it's a little bit longer process. The other 20% are active, pretty easy to have respond, but that's again like a job board in a sense too. You know, that's the active job seekers that may or may not be as qualified. Not to say they couldn't be, but chances are those who are crushing it in their current job is going to be a good candidate. 60% of them, of those 80%, are open to opportunity. So thinking about this, you know, there's a lot of opportunistic people there on LinkedIn, but again, if we tell the right story in the right way and engage them, you know, we're going to be able to convert them over to future placements, or maybe to have them share opportunities with other individuals that they, you know, kind of flock together with on LinkedIn. So the job of the recruiter really has changed quite a bit. You know, it used to be this just straight outbound effort, you know, which is very finite. You can only make so many calls in a day, just like we had the paper database, and before there was voicemail to be left, you know, the best recruiters just made 100, 200 phone calls a day. And if the more calls you made you a better recruiter. But how about those in other time zones, or those researching your brand, or not getting the phone call? You know, we need to fill in the rest of the gaps, as you can, you know, obviously see on this diagram. What's the story that continues to go outside of, you know, the individual outbound proactive efforts of your recruiters? And so your recruiters have an opportunity, again, to add value to your company brand by showing your thought leadership and ability to have a crystal ball perspective on your industry. So sharing good content, again, feeding into that, not just identity and network, but insights and knowledge, and, you know, again, establishing, as a candidate, wanting to establish a good news feed, we want to help you own that news feed, the talent that you're trying to recruit for. So again, kind of allowing that story to continue at the same time while our recruiters are sleeping or at lunch or not be able to make calls. We want to capture the rest of that audience who's there. So as somebody chooses to visit your company page, either from a message or content shared, if they get to your company page and they choose to raise their hand and say, I'd like to follow your company on LinkedIn, you have great content, here's how it affects your bottom line. Recruiters tell me all the time, your recruiters actually themselves say we want to get a higher email response rate. Well, it's going to drive 78% more likelihood to respond to an email. We're going to have a 2 to 5 times more success in having followers basically share our brand and recommend your business on LinkedIn. So brand ambassadors, you know, snowball effect through the network. And then 79% of these members, these followers, almost 80% of the followers are interested in jobs at the companies that they're following. So jobs that you guys are posting. So obviously you're top of mind, you're part of the only maybe 5 or 6 companies that they're following on average, and you're part of that job set that's coming to them. So again, having these followers and owning a very specific group of these followers on LinkedIn, establishing yourself in your industry is going to give you a much higher likelihood to, again, establishing brand, generating a faster response, and getting your jobs filled quicker. So LinkedIn, you know, we can agree that our platform is flat, and that all candidates, clients, and consultants are all together in this one platform. You know, they're not segmented in this audience. So we need to make sure that we are putting content up there that they all seem to care about, but we can also reach them on the same level. So very easy. Once again, we set up the groundwork from an organic freeway. Also, we can put some power to it, which is what we're going to kind of walk through in just a second. And again, very important that, as you know, placed candidate eventually does become a client and continued business. So recommending 3 simple steps in regard to this kind of new narrative we're discussing, which is, again, we just mentioned building your follower and your brand. So, you know, targeting that right audience and how we're going to, then once we get them to follow us, to engage with them so we can stay top of mind and so that they are, you know, quick to respond and we look at jobs and share our brand for us. And then at the end, obviously, combining these two together, you already have the recruiter tool, but using what you guys do best, which is the recruitment effort part, and how we can help partner with you to obviously be as efficient and as effective as possible with that. So yeah, these are what the best of us on LinkedIn are doing today. So your LinkedIn journey kind of starts here. We're going to go through each of these 3 segments, but essentially, one by one, we're going to be able to leverage your employees and be able to share your content better on LinkedIn to attract some new followers, and then be able to recruit them through LinkedIn. So start with the build portion. You know, one of the most simple ways to have, you know, new followers come join your company or come follow your company essentially is to pay for a campaign, you know, to basically put their individual photo. I actually was recruited this way, my photo next to the logo, and it said, come follow us to find a job or to accelerate your career. We can actually put these out in front of passive, opportunistic candidates and active candidates on their home page, which, again, as soon as you see their photo, it's kind of natural to be slightly vain, and it's going to draw your attention and wonder why your picture's there. But it's going to encourage them to make that quick step to follow your company. And we've seen up to a best-in-class, like a 300% increase in your follower base with accelerated campaigns like this one here. On top of it, your employees, actually, you know, you have a couple hundred views a month per employee of candidates that are viewing their profiles. A lot of times it's because they're responding or looking at an email from one of your recruiters. Your recruiters have 10 times the amount of traffic as your other employees, so even more so them than others, we need to make sure we're optimizing their profile to convert these viewers into company page views into followers. Again, where these statistics help us out to get the email response, job application, and sharing a brand. So I looked at a job application or job opportunity a year and a half back when I was managing sales in Orange County. I looked at the guy who posted the job, kind of like the way I would look at a message from a recruiter. And then looking at his profile, again, I saw my photo on the right-hand side, and it showed my photo with the LinkedIn logo and said, come find your dream job by following us at LinkedIn. And I thought, oh, well, that's simple. Like that obviously makes sense. I just, reading through Scott or this Galstream's profile, I just didn't make the mental connection that I should do that. I just thought, wow, that's really impressive. Maybe we'll just connect and see where it goes. But by following, again, stats increase in the favor of your business. So 76% of the page views are members actually looking at members. So looking at each other's profiles is the #1 activity on LinkedIn, and will vary between the 6th and 7th most visited website in the U.S. So arguably, 6th and 7th most important thing on the entire web is looking at your employees' profiles. And again, the traffic to your recruiters is 10x, mostly because of their ability to outwardly engage with candidates via email. So we want to make sure we're capitalizing on the views to their profile and converting them over to follow your company or to read the content that you're putting on your page, which is, again, this engage portion of, as you do some of the free stuff of posting good content to your company page, you know, how can we create a more personalized and custom experience? So I know you focus on more than one industry. You know, we can basically have a personalized section depending on who's viewing your company page. They're going to see specialized video content, different images, maybe a different message, as well as the jobs are going to be focused on jobs you posted that are relevant to that candidate. So relevance is key in our platform. That's what drives the results we're looking for. So, you know, again, there's the free side of posting good content and making a great page where they're engaged and excited to see what your brand's about and follow you. But if we can actually leverage what's called this career page and have personalized landing pages for these candidates who are coming in either passive or active, you know, we can, again, make a very customized experience that really speaks to them. And we see potential of upwards of maybe higher than 400% increase in the candidate conversion with something like this to a follower or somebody who's going to be applying to your job. So up to 400% or more is kind of the best in class we've seen. Also, again, with your followers who are, you know, following your company, you have content that you can share. Just copy and pasting articles with a thoughtful comment, maybe related to your industry and company brand or jobs. But we could actually push this content out outside of your follower base to what we call a sponsored update. So an update is just posting an article with a thoughtful comment, again, pushing it to our followers' news feeds, but we want to attract new followers, and we want them to be relevant. And so we can actually reach them. We can drive 3 times the usual content traffic to these articles, to those who are reading the ones that were originally on your page. We can drive the content viewing, as well as increase, 25% in the click-through rate for these updates. So 25% more, potential candidates and members will be clicking on these because it's going to show up on their news feed, even though they didn't subscribe to your business. We're going to basically use an algorithm to make sure it's relevant to them based on their title, experience, groups, etc., and what you guys are all about. And as you put this article comes up in front of them, it's giving them an opportunity to find out about your business and convert them to a follower. So we can actually accelerate that to people outside of your current follower base. So again, picking that right audience, we want to build the story around, building the right company page and employee profiles, and then being able to capture that traffic through a profile advertisement, to pull them to the company page. Once they get there, a customized experience, and then to attract new followers, to be able to push it out to those relevant people who aren't engaged with our brand yet. And lastly, the recruit portion that you're familiar with, obviously being able to take your jobs and push them out to the candidates that you do not have yet, obviously based, again, by relevance. We purchased a company, Bright, for their job matching algorithm at the beginning of the year for $120 million. We're investing a lot, and we invested in creating an iPhone job seeker application, the first of its kind. Again, really placing a big emphasis on how we put relevant jobs, your jobs, in front of the right types of passive candidates. And so on top of this, we can actually, again, the members that are following you are much more likely to apply and click these jobs. We can get it out in front of those who are passive, but we can actually, put money down to actually push and sponsor some of those jobs as well. And again, kind of raise them towards the top of the list when they are posted. And as you see in this slide, the recruiter platform that you are already utilizing with a few of your recruiters, this is, again, access in these seats so they can see more of the LinkedIn network. They can collaborate live time, have these allotted emails to reach out to these candidates and proactively manage and source these candidates for future use. Again, this tool is about building targeted pipeline that we can engage, have become followers, post about jobs, build relationships. And again, if they're following your company, easy for your recruiters to narrow down on those who are company followers and reach out to them, as they're much more likely to respond to our emails. So all in all, again, thinking about this 3-pronged approach, building, again, I think it's more so targeting that audience we want to go after, defining that thought leadership or industry space we want to reach out to, and saying who are these candidates and what's important to them and how we're going to tell the right story, and then leveraging, how do we attract this large audience by putting media in front of them and content in front of them, and then as they view either the content back to the company page or from an employee's profile, we make it obvious what to do next. It's a simple next to-do step. It's an easy, actionable item, and we make it obvious and clear. Hey, you want to find your dream job? Come follow us. You want to be engaged with the top content in medical device industry? Come follow us. When they get there, it's a personalized, custom experience with jobs relevant to them, news relevant to them, message and image that resonates with them. So we have a higher likelihood of converting them. And then for those who aren't coming in those ways, how can we reach them, from a paid perspective, sponsoring your content and pushing it out in front of them to attract them to come to this page and have that customized experience. And once we've got that right audience who has you top of mind, knows how to engage with you, knows what the value proposition is of following your company and being able to connect with your recruiters and team, we'll be able to easily use the recruiter tool to reach out, engage them, find new talent, and let them be aware about our brand. And obviously you as the owner get to own all the data and work that gets put into that tool, so you can leverage it for future use and make sure you're keeping that power there for anybody that you bring onto this company. So a lot of exciting stuff, but again, the biggest key takeaway is, again, how can we take away this perception of LinkedIn as just a job board and a candidate search and mapping tool, but how can we build a presence and tell a good story and let that management recruiters in Jackson story resonate to the right audience, so we can get them in here and make these placements and really establish your company as a thought leader and the search and staffing firm of choice within your industry.